Hello, welcome to Shad Life. I am pretty stoked about this first experiment I'm going to do with this thing. So, we already know that I absolutely love the mullet configuration. So, one of the things I talked about early on when I was building this thing was that I liked the fact that it had external cable routing, right? And so what's going to make this super slick is I have all the parts to mount a derailleur cable to the top tube and along here and go to the back. So what I want to do is make this bike what I would call interchangeable and quickly interchangeable. And so what I mean by that is I have these parts that I'm going to show you here in a second, and I want to be able to change out this bike from a single speed to a 12 speed or 1x12 setup within, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. And if I can accomplish that, it would be pretty cool because I really like how this bike rides, and it'd be cool to just be able to switch out some parts, go single speed. I've got a couple different size cogs. I've mentioned that I want to ride the BMX class on this with a single speed setup, but I also want to add gears to it and run it as a geared bike. So let me show you what I got. So we'll start with this. I got this Sunrace 12 speed cassette. It is Shimano compatible with a Shimano chain. And what's cool about this is it'll fit on the HG cassette driver rather than me having to have micro spline on there. Hopefully, right? That's the way it's supposed to work, right? So this is HG compatible, and so I should be able to just put this on and have 12 speed on my HG cassette. And so that's step one. And I got the higher end one. I got aluminum carriage, I got the aluminum outer rings, and so on and so forth. So that's the first part that I got. The next thing I got, I already had this laying around. This is a XT rear derailleur. The reason I had this laying around is, if we remember during the pandemic or near the end of it, it was really hard to get parts. And I was worried because I have a few bikes with XT derailleurs. I was worried that if I damaged a derailleur, I wouldn't be able to replace it right away. I'd have to wait months to get a new one. So I bought a few. I think I bought like 3 XT derailleurs. The reason I ended up doing that is back when I had my Ripmo AF, I destroyed the GX derailleur on it by hitting a rock. That was SRAM, of course, and I couldn't just get a replacement. I had to order it and wait, and I think it was out for like a month and a half or something like that. So I kind of panicked when I noticed that there were no XT derailleurs available, so I bought a couple of them when I saw them at the store. So that's why I have this. So now that we're no longer in this part supply shortage, I'm fine using this. Plus I got plenty of bikes, so if I did damage one and I couldn't find a replacement, I could just swap one off from a different bike and I'd be down a bike or something. But I literally have 1, 2, 3 bikes now I'll have with the XT derailleur, because I used to have XT on my Salsa Rustler, but I put that SRAM GX Access on there, so it technically could go back to XT if I want to go back that way, but I don't know if I will. All right, anyway. And I got an SLX shifter. I wanted a XT, but I couldn't find one. So kind of that weird thing, like sometimes parts are just not available, but XLX is pretty good. So I'm good with that. I have another SLX shifter hanging on the wall over here, but it's got a different mount. It's designed to mount on the Shimano brake levers, and these brake levers aren't compatible for that. So I got a different one that has the clamp that can clamp under the bars. And then I did get an XT chain. So with these 4 items, oh, and I got to show you this because this is something I didn't expect. I was all worried that I wouldn't have a cable. This comes with the inner wire, which is pretty common when you get a shifter, but I've never seen one come with the housing. And Shimano housing is awesome. I love Shimano housing, and I have a whole bunch of housing on the wall, but it's like a gray color, and this is black. So I'm gonna have everything I need here to swap this over to a 1x12, and then I can try it out with gears and ride it more places without really. I do worry about riding single track with single speed. Yes, I can do it, but I don't know if it's the best for my knees and so on and so forth, especially at my age and the fact that I have a knee replacement. So I will do single speed sparingly. A lot of you know about my surly low side, so I already have a single speed. So if I want to go ride single speed, I can. I have some ideas with the low side. I'm not going to talk about. It'll be a surprise. But yeah, so let's go ahead and throw some gears on this. And no, I'm not going to go through all the steps. The next moment, you're just going to see the gears on this bike. Cool. Well, and then there are massive failures. Which is kind of why I like doing this channel, because sometimes you just have failures and then you're like, well, I gotta figure it out. So apparently when I got this chainring, I wanted this blue one to match kind of my blue theme, and it's a race face chainring. I usually get wolf tooth, but for some reason I figured, well, I got a race face crank, I'll get a race face chainring. I do believe wolf tooth makes race face compatible chainrings. I'll have to find out because they are local and I can get it pretty quick. But I looked on the race face 12 race face website for the 12-speed Shimano compatible chainring, and this isn't it. This is their standard one, which works fine with a 10-speed Shimano chain, which is what I generally run on any of my single speed setups. But for Shimano 12-speed, this doesn't work, and so the chain just comes right off. See, it comes off there and it wants to ride up, so I have to get a different chain ring, and I don't have one. I do have on one of my other bikes, if I was really desperate to get this project done, I would switch out the crankset to a Shimano XT crankset and be able to run this, but I'm not that desperate. I'm just gonna take the Jaffe and ride it today and finish this project another day. So I will do another video finishing this. But when you're working on bikes, there's always the possibility that certain things aren't compatible with other things, and I just assumed that a 12-speed chain would fit on this standard race face chainring. It is a narrow wide one, but it must be for either SRAM or lower gear ranges or something. The back is looking pretty good. I don't have the cable installed yet, but I did install the cassette, so the Sun cassette fits on the HG cassette body. The XT derailleur fits fine, which I already know because this bike had an XT derailleur. And I got all that kind of set up, but I obviously need a different chainring, so I will take care of that and get back to this. I want to hopefully find a wolf tooth chainring in blue. I really like the blue, and the race face one that is Shimano compatible only comes in black. So it is what it is. Or I might just swap the entire crankset out. We'll see. Anyway, appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace. Fail. Sad face. Not. Let's go ride the Jaffe.